Order, order! Let me get this straight. You saw two people pass by the gate on their day at the studios that way? One was a steel samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade?
Oh yes, well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him.
Boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume that it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield a samurai spear. Impossible, I'd think. It's quite heavy.
Right, as I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data.
Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information, and no one forget vital information this time, points at Old Bag. Alright, we're here for a 5-minute recess, so let's have a recess. Don't really know how else to put it. Mr. Will Powers?
Yes?
Tell me straight, were you really in the dressing room? You didn't go to the studio?
I didn't go to the studio, I was sleeping, honest.
So who was the steel samurai in that security photo? How should I... wow.
How should I know? The steel samurai costume is off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone who could have walked in and taken it, really.
What? You should take better care of that stuff.
I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a steel samurai costume. So, where does this leave me?
It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick, what are you going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have conceivably done this. Right! And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot.
You don't sound very optimistic.
I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. That was the fastest 5 minutes I've ever seen.
What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that.
Alrighty, we're back from the recess. Let's do this. Continue the case.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on the matter?
The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there was still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. You can already tell Edgeworth's still sour for us being the first person to ever defeat him. Very well, Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person that could have committed the crime. Order. Interesting. Let's hear you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who was this person other than Will Powers that committed the murder? Now, we've already ruled out the fact that the grade school boy is not strong enough to hold the samurai spear because it's very big. And if a grade school boy can't hold it, the assistant girl is still very tiny, and she's a girl. She probably couldn't hold it either. So the only real option here of someone who could have lifted the spear and impaled Mr. Jack Hammer is none other than the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. It was a security lady, Wendy Oldbag! How? The steel samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer that knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag.
What? Whippersnapper!
Alright, we've pinned this down on her now. Is this true, Oldbag?
Oldbag? That's Mrs. Oldbag to you!
Mrs. Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left the post to steal the steel samurai costume. Then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder.
Why would she go?
Wow, why would she go to the trouble of wearing the steel samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would have taken her picture. If she was in this costume, she could have pointed the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right there. Sherlock Holmes too, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't usually jump high with an objection and some new damning evidence. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on the matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time.
What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, you think I did it? Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something!
What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. Alrighty. Well, I would say give Granny a break, but she called us a whippersnapper and some other mean stuff back there at the Turnabout. Back there at the first investigation of Turnabout Samurai. So you know what? Let's press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day.
But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer?
You forget that Mr. Powers has a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope.
Wait just a minute! What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy, the one whose photo I erased.
He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. Second or third grade, wasn't?
That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer.
What? How can you be so sure? Or is it to be nice to the kids and mean to your elders day, you whippersnapper?
I have proof.
Proof?
Indeed. Then let's see the proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder? Now, if we look here, autopsy report isn't going to do nothing. The guide map doesn't do anything. Samurai Spear, he couldn't lift that. This photo's already been used like 6 times. So the only piece of evidence that's viable is the card key, so let's present. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studios have a card key? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The Windbag, speechless? This has got to be a first. Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for the day. Proceedings. Alrighty. Something old bag, Your Honor. Alrighty. That's it for the trial. The first trial of Turnabout Samurai. We've pretty much stalled the... What? What is this? Old bag has raised an objection.
I'm not going to say that you're off burning up the wrong tree. Me! I'm talking.
Oh god. What is this? Oh great. Stop the presses. The Windbag wants to talk. Wow, Maya, you are got a mean streak in you. Have you admitted something from your testimony?
Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about.
Not to talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify! What is this all about?
Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me just to pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free.
Oh my. Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now?
Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told.
No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the Oldbag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Alright guys, here we go. The cross-examination. My lips were sealed. All we have to do is press this statement. Who were these people?
Well, the director and the producer, for starters.
The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of the action without a scene, without a director? Of course.
Yes, well, I was not surprised. I was surprised no one asked about it.
So where were these people?
The director was in their employee area all morning through the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime, and they had a meeting after that.
Where?
Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer.
Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? That's right, no one's mentioned that.
Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. It'll go through the gate all the way to the left.
The path where the monkey's head had fallen over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination? I think I've already asked all my questions, but let's just take a break. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and, some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings of the trial of Mr. Will Powers, for real this time. No more objections from Oldbag. Well, we saved our ass that time. 1:04 p.m. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Oh, really? It's nothing, Grin. Oh, or should I say, sniff. We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigations. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now is my chance to get the material for the cross-examination. So, Nick, have we figured out just who it was in the steel samurai costume? Could it really have been the old windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take off the pressure of Mr. Powers. Poor old windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Alright, let's get down to the studios. Right! We'll be back to visit you soon! Thanks guys. Alrighty, and that's it for the first trial of Turnabout Samurai. That's it. That's a short trial. It's actually really short, but we have another trial coming up after this, of course, but we have a day of investigation to do. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I will be seeing you all next time.